let's get into this. I'm just going to read a little bit out of Republic because I'm here in about 40 some minutes. I'm going to have to get ready, and I'll be going live with Rob L. She goes by another name. You all can look up if you know her. Cool. And somebody pointed out something I was well aware of, and I'm grateful it's one of my gun brothers. And there's a lot of other people pointing it out too. So, when I always say, if you're here to make people think, stay contextual in that department. But when you start wanting to vendor off in things that, regardless of research, you really don't know about, because see, whenever I talk about giants, the earth, the moon, and this, that, and other, I'm giving you abstracts where there's a lot more plethora of information that is not all written. You actually have to have traveled. And when I say travel, I mean have traveled the earth. And just traveling to Virginia, these places, debunking this, that, and other. If you're coming over here and you're coming and you're watching, acknowledge and speak. Welcome yourself in. Don't be the bump on the log believing you're still information because you've made so much fiat. People will start looking at that because some people know what I'm going to talk about. And if you're over there talking about it, they're going to look at you, and you can't come over here cussing me out like you did Judge Joe Never and all them frauds. Because see, I'll come to your neck of woods and I'll beat you down. I don't advocate violence, but I'm built like that. I'm really built like that. I will beat you down. I'll beat the brakes off of you. I don't care your platform, wife, children, and none of that. I will say, come over here. You got a gymnasium. You train for a month. Come in here, put the gloves on, and I'm gonna go into you like you. And even the people in the gymnasium are gonna be like, this dude's attempting to kill him. And I'm not gonna be doing it, but I'm gonna do things that you trust me. You ain't gonna learn in no 30 or 90 days. So anyway, let's get into the Ryan Republic. I'm gonna be long with it. This is the only one I'm gonna read right now. After the live, then I'll come back, and it's gonna be a little late. So if you're up, make sure the notifications are on. Just look, all right? And we'll get into the other readings. I'm actually going to read the DNA of the Gods along with certain excerpts from Wars of the Anunnaki. I went over it, and there was something that I believe I need to read. I should have been utilizing it all the time, but there's so many books. There were several, but we finished with 2 books. So, and we got only like a paragraph and a half, 2 paragraphs of the finish exposing expositions. And that's the last of Howdy Mikowski's writings. Supposedly, he's writing another one, supposedly. So let's go ahead and get into the Iron Republic. I hope it's mirrored. I attempted to make sure it was mirrored. Edited by C.J. Austin. And let's get this knocked out. And I'll get myself prepared for the live with Rob L. Rebel. It's Rebel, but people say Rob L. So I say that because most people don't know that. It means rebel. Let me make sure where I highlighted it. I had put an asterisk the last time. Excuse me. I actually enjoyed me 2 big slices of pizza today. Half price, and hey, they probably may have some poison in it, but I'm not worried about it. Everything is poison. Depends on how you're built. Do you self-testify and identify? Okay, let me make sure. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Because we're in chapter 7. I know where we're at. I just want to make sure, because the asterisk's right there. Because I read quite a bit last time. Right into the next chapter. So let's get into it. You ready? Here we go. On the contrary, replied the professor. The professor is Mr. Morris, the guy who was the first after the Witch-Call War to go there. Okay? It is so extremely simple that every merchant and farmer in your country puts it in practice in the conduct of his business. Freight and passenger tariffs on the railroads, canals, and navigable rivers, and lighting, power, telephone. You see how they make a difference between lighting and power? Telephone and express services and franchises yield the Department of Public Utilities a sufficient sum, together with the profits derived from the national exchange system, to meet all the expenses of the government. So you do have to be responsible. Not just sitting in the house, but get out. Not looking and sitting in front of some dumb TV, but to hear the harmonic and the balances. That's why we need these things going. These have been a perversion, nothing but a weapon from their inception. Orson Welles proved that with the radio, as it's misused by the Ashkenazi himself. I see, said I, the profits of all this business go to the government. Yes, to the government, answered my friend. For to use a fiction of this kind is a convenient. for you to use it says fiction, I think fraction of this kind is a convenient way to express the aggregate ownership of the people. So it means to not own the people. I can see but one difficulty, I remarked. He's still argumentative, and that is in adjusting these tariffs and profits, as it is impossible to tell what they will yield. Now he's forgetting where he's at and how long they have built this society. It just didn't poof. And though there were things there, that presents no difficulties, was the reply, as the tariffs and percentages for the ensuing year are based on the expenses of the government the year before. For instance, the total cost of operating the government last year was about 200 million DMs, of which about 5.5 million are used in defraying the expenses. Defraying the expenses, that's marvelous, of the government proper. And the balance is operating its exchanges and utilities. Assuming that the business of these departments will be the same this year as last, it is a simple arithmetical, and I don't even know why that words bother me, and I'm a mathematician, problem to fix the tariffs to raise the necessary amount. As a matter of fact, though, in making up the budget for any year, a very liberal margin is allowed, and the excess thus occurring is expended by the department. So, without pork barrel spending, the foolishness we see now, like in the military, a screwdriver going for like $400. What kind of retarded government, you know what I mean? Or listen, you know what I mean? Anyway, by the Department of Progress and Scientific Experimentation and New Utilities. You say the actual cost of the government last year outside of running your railroads, exchanges, and other utilities was about 5.5 million DMs? What is a DM? Excellent question. It is the value of a day's work and is the unit of our financial system. It is about the value of an American dollar. And what is the population of the Republic? A little over 50 million. Not million, but millions. There's different sectors. It seems incredible, said I, that 50 millions of people can be governed for this sum. And say served for this sum, interrupted the first professor. He had to interrupt. Say served for this sum. Serve, that means for the people, not for the government. Pay attention. Well, serve for that sum, and I cannot understand it in any other light than that your people have advanced to a higher plane of intelligence and morality than the people of other countries. Yeah. And I need y'all to become moral, not subjugated. And I know when I speak things, I ask for a few dollars, you think that I'm attempting to control your pocket when I'm cursing you. No, I'm not cursing you as I've done to the others. I am stating a fact. I am leaning on you for a better judgment of moral respectability, because nobody's going to do what I'm doing, nor what I'm going to do. I'm leaning on your better judgment. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally leaning on your better judgment, and that you're capable of your better judgment. It may be said without egotism that they have advanced to a somewhat higher plane of intelligence, said the professor, for the results of it are here to show. But I do think they are any better morally. Morality in religion is the surplus crop here. As in America and everywhere else, they do not rob and oppress because they have combined for mutual protection against each other. Excuse me. The entire government seems to be run on the principles of a great trust of cooperation, I remarked. That's just exactly what it is, replied my friend. All right. It is the logical end and culmination of trust and monopoly. That would be Professor Morris. It is pay attention to this. I've read this, Andrew. A trust form of the whole people for purposes of government. We are a government unto ourselves, people. I am leaning on your better judgment. I put the camera on this side, I'm looking over here. I put the camera over here, I'm looking over here. What in the world is it? Is it a magnetism? I don't get it. Anyway. So anyway, commerce, transportation, education, and everything else that pertains to their welfare, the costs of the entire system in all its branches, operative, legislative, and judicial, education and penal, amounts to an impulse of about 5% on commerce, while the tariffs for transportation and other public utilities probably does not exceed one half of what they are in countries dominated by wealth. So they don't live above their means or necessities, yet they make sure they have more than enough that is necessary for all to live and enjoy comfortably. And with not just the subsidies and the tariffs of how everything's set up, but by things that are stored for if something was to happen, that are long-standing and still able to produce without greed and ego and all those other falsitudes. I had never had any commercial training, but I knew that it costs all the way from 10 to 100% of the value of any product in the United States to get it out of the hands of the producer and into those of the consumer. What is the total business of this vast trust in all branches? I asked. Something like 4 billions of diems, replied the professor. 50 millions of people in one great trust, and that so organized and safeguarded that no member could ever take advantage of another? I could scarcely conceive of such a thing, but it was extremely simple in theory, and there it was, in successful operation right before thine eyes. I am beginning to comprehend something of your wonderful scheme of government, I remarked, but as one of the first things I learned after leaving my ship was that you do not use metal money as a medium of exchange. I am curious to learn something of your financial system. How does your medium of exchange originate, and on what is it based? Well, I believe, said the professor, Mr. Morris, without answering my question, that our financial system is as near perfect as anything of human origin can be. And do you not think your whole governmental scheme is perfect? I asked in surprise. No, indeed, replied my friend. It is ideal in comparison with what has been accomplished in the world before. But the final perfect government is no government at all. Why, Professor, you cannot mean anarchy, I exclaimed. Oh, no, he answered, just no government. See how whenever something is removed from the norm of people's ideology of occupation, they have to have something put in there, in its place. That's why I say for people striking down religions and gods and everything else, if they can't express, if they don't know what the Kundalini, this, that, and all that, and the Christ fluid and this, that, and other, they should not be dismissing people's religions of gods. They should be steadfast and fanciful in their own ideology and accept to think they can teach it. They have nothing to replace it. For goodness, excuse me. Just no government. When people become fully civilized as Christianized, and that narrow delusion called patriotism gives place to worldwide fraternalism, there will be no necessity for government or laws. I'm not a patriot. I know y'all heard me say it, but I never was a patriot. I don't know what that. I'm a Republican, a Tartarian. I'm orthodox to this land. The old ways of my peoples has not gone nowhere. I'm even Egyptian, and not by the new standards of what you think over in that Cairo or that delusional state of mind, so-called overseas, that's still part of the landmass. It's all a lie. I'm attempting to walk y'all into a different ideology and watch other people start speaking on these matters. But it's fine. Don't be a fret. Anyway. No necessity for government or laws. For goodness sake, I cried. Leave something for heaven and hereafter. But this monetary system, tell me something about that. It is all, he's actually in heaven and has no clue, because he's been subjected to the upside down inverted, the backwards and reverse narrative of things. Order out of chaos when order is already established. Chaos is the fractured system that creates the illusion of something that never existed, but was always steadfast in its reality, supreme in its origin. Order exists because you can't conceive or conceptualize what order is because you believe chaos is rudimentary. It's only rudimentary because that's all you know. It is not perfectism. It is not reality. It is not truth. Because all you know is chaos, how can you subjugate yourself to see and realize the truth of order? It is not man-made. We didn't make it. Maybe the humans made it, or some kind of mankind made it. We didn't make that. It is all comprehended in these propositions, said the professor. The value of anything is what it is worth to man. And it is honestly worth to one man what it costs another man to produce it. Value in a medium of exchange can only inhere when that medium is a commodity of intrinsic worth, or when it represents such a commodity, and then its value is exactly that of the article it represents. It's a give and give. Under the barter system, if I came to you and I asked you for wild rice, and you had not it, no, you had it, and says, well, what shall I retain in return? Well, based upon order, I show you a bunch of radishes, greens, and peppers. Wouldn't I give you the same quality and amount as the rice, the wild rice that you're giving me? Not more by interest, or not least based on greed. But wouldn't it be a balance, give and take? Just like people running around Africa talking about, we have 640 types of vegetables and fruits. Yeah, 600 of them are from here, nowhere else on this earth. Why is that we have stories of the starving times, the droughts, the famines, long before the 1800s? We're talking about going back to the 6th and 10th century, going over there and feeding the first segregations by the Ashkenazis during the period of their reign in terror and assimilation of ideas, narratives, and identities. This is written history, whether you believe it or not. So anyway, it is all comprehended in these propositions, said the professor. The value of anything is what it is worth to man. Pay attention. And it is honestly worth to one man what it costs another man to produce it. There's a balance. Value in a medium of exchange can only inhere inheritance. No, inhere when that medium is a commodity of intrinsic worth. It's a balance. Or when it represents such a commodity, and then its value is exactly that of the article it represents. Very well, go on. Where there are no exchangeable commodities of value, there can be no honest medium of exchange because there is no exchangeable commodity. What did I just express? You don't have to like it if you're going to sit here and watch. At least comment. Just say, hey, tell me your indifference. Or if you're learning, respect. May grace be upon you. Here, the value of everything is based on the average cost of, check this out, production. And when it passes out of the hands of the producer, he is entitled to its value and anything else he may want. In a crude state of society, this exchange is affected by bartering one article for the other directly, or by converting them into pieces of metal or other unscientific forms of money of certain or arbitrary value and using it as a medium of exchange. But as this medium is an uncertain quantity, for there is no scale in its perfection, but morality. If y'all only knew. Depending on the discovery of minds, the vagaries of legislation and the manipulation of the financiers who own and control it, commerce in all commodities becomes a mere shuttlecock in the hands of the money masters, and the value of everything in their medium, it is subject to their will, to which we deal with today, the perversion of it all. Now, under such conditions, it is not strange that in a country where plenty is produced for all, a few rule in wealth and luxury, while many suffer for the actual comforts of this life, as you saw the 10-year-old child, female, and the buzzard, and the man who took the picture who took his life some months later. Moral subjugation is a powerful vice. It matters not who you are, or what you've done, or who you believe yourself to be, especially when it's wielded by those who know how. It is not strange either that those who control the money are the ones that rule in wealth, while those who do all the work and produce all the commodities grovel in want. This is the result of ignorance on the part of the producing masses, and is about on a par with that fabled transaction in which were concerned two cats, a money and a piece of cheese. Now, in the place of that crude and unjust system, the Iron Republic employs a scientific method that is just to all. The value of every product is scientifically fixed by the average cost of production. And when a man produces anything, he delivers it to the great popular trust called the government, and receives, therefore, its ascensions or incentos, which are certificates of its value and deposit, as everything that is produced is placed in escrow. Just the same, these ascentos are exchangeable for any other commodity on the same basis of value. Powerful. These ascentos then are the circulating medium, and not a diem of them can exist outside of the national exchange unless its value in some commodity exists with it. Now, as long as there is a diem's worth of any commodity in the hands of the government exchange, there is outstanding somewhere a diem to represent that commodity. Now, when that commodity is withdrawn, we're talking about their form of monetary for consumption. The diem is absorbed by the government, and the financial incident is closed. That is magnificent. It is so simplistic. Now, I remember having a lemonade stand and having to deal with all those who had no moral subjugation, and then those who just wanted cool, cold lemonade. And I actually was made to believe, in my perversion of thought, that I could take half of that, put it away, go buy more lemons and sugar, use the tap water from the hose on the side of the house, and I became greedy in wanting more. And it was all around me, from the elder, not all the elders. Some of them was like, let that boy make his change so he can get his quarter bag of candy. But I wanted more than that. I was untaped, raw, and not nurtured in the specificalities. I had to learn that on my own. Greed runs rampant in my family because I come from a family that's quasi-non, many millionaires and many above middle class. You paid attention to that word much? It shouldn't exist. Then where's the love? Isn't love about moral subjugation and responsibility? Isn't it about tribe? They say it takes a what? A village to raise a family. Who raises the village? The clan? Who raises the clan? The tribe? Who takes care of the tribes? The nation. In carrying out this great government trust, 4 billions of diem are issued and absorbed annually. And so the great financial tide ebbs and flows with the regularity and certainty of the tides of the ocean. Best of all, no man can receive value until he produces value. And so we have a great human hive in which there are no drones. This may seem to you a small volume of business for so large a nation, but as middlemen are practically eliminated and there is no wasteful competition, I am in no competition. A mutual exchange of commodities is effected with much less trading than in your country. And have you no merchants at all, I ask? Oh, yes. was the answer. We have a considerable number of men engaged in supplying the wants of the people besides those employed at the exchange, but they can hardly be called merchants, as they are in reality caterers. They establish themselves in locations more convenient to the people of certain sections than the exchange and receive a small advance over the exchange prices merely on account of that convenience. Now, the exchange fixes the price, though, of everything, and the caterers are only paid enough more to pay for this convenience as the exchange is open for all. Of course, this applies only to the commodities that are handled in the exchange. Now, there are many commodities, perishable goods, confectionaries, and endless variety of gimcracks that are not received into the exchange at all and are dispensed by the caterers. Your absolute cash system undoubtedly saves a vast amount of loss and litigation, said I. But men are compelled to have, he's compelled, but anyway, have accommodation to or suffer. And that, it seems to me, is where your system would work great hardship. He's not paying attention to what he's surrounded by. Do you see the elusiveness and the blindness? We have that now. People are talking and people aren't listening because they want to be heard. You know who wants to be heard most? The ones who really have nothing to say. They just want you to accept them at base value for what they have when they have no value that should be given because they have not given anything of value. We're going to stop it right there. Somebody said, would you run for president? I'd run to be a con. I would never run to be some ragtag, made-up president of some corporation. No, I cut all ties with these fake corporations and tell them to go onto the islands and keep making your weapons of war, and we will deal here as we need to, as it used to be, as it should be. Get your disease and sicknesses out of here. Don't fly nothing over because we will destroy it. And I guarantee you in a month's time, we'll have weapons that are compatible to yours to protect the sovereignty of the people. And if need be, we will strike first. And it matters no outcome because what we can accomplish in a month would outdo what they've done in years or even decades or centuries. Trust me. Put a little asterisk there. Not too many smarty pants, just enough to be able to relay things that are based upon order and not anger, rage, or emotions. They must be done away completely. There's nothing equitable, nothing to equate to or with, unless you want to stay in the perverse nature of the science of lies, the history of lies, and everything else. All right? So, good read. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm going to shout you all off, and I'm going to get off here and get myself prepared. Hey, DJ, what's going on? Man, all that Scottish nonsense. Man, we all love one another, man. We're here to build a tribe. We don't want, man, we need you here. We need the big bear. We ain't about this no eagles here. We all are solid foundations of everybody together. That's who we are. Hit them likes, hit them subscribe, make sure the notification bell's on. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to show love. We're going to be different from everybody else. We're going to allow ourselves to graft in one another. Stop worrying about what's going on outside and take care of what's on the inside, because the information is not that you can't think of it and have it. It's all of self. If the worth in you is outside of you, and that's what you seek, then this is not the place. If the worth is within you, and it's a shared commodity of not nationalism or false pride, division, or separation, we don't have to worry about that because everybody else has wrought themselves off. We need to come back into the forum and the fray of the truth of our existence. All that other stuff is mishmash. I may have discussed certain things, but that was always, I test. I have to see how far the mind is gone by certain individuals, how grafted in there, into the nonsense, and why is it that they haven't refracted and pulled back, show some restraint and say, even though I feel this way, I'm going to look at it this way so I can occur a different thought, feeling, a whole different conceptualization, and start having some real growth. I'm built like that. Hey, BJR, West Side, my bro was in here quick. Oh, Sniggle Snacks. What's up, bro? Ray Wolf, Humble French. Where's the wifey, man? Like to see y'all here at the same time. Unless you're sitting there watching, with your tell her respect, grace, number love. Rondo. We got the vampire in the house. I need a couple of them packs, man, because last night, I hope y'all ain't hear me snoring. And we need some ganja water, brother. Damn. DJ, make sure they send me some of that ganja water, man. West Side, he's on that side of town, man. If you haven't seen him, tell him to get out there, Lost Boys, and get some blood packs and get it over to me, man. All right? Hey, Pearl, greetings. Get into the root of it all. Hey, what's going on? Peace and grace, brother. Hey, Oklahoma, that's what I'm calling you from now on. Oh, God, I told you that. What's going on, family, beloved? Appreciate you, man. Mikey Hill. Huss, what's going on? Huss, what's happening? What's happening? All the new subscribers, blessing to have y'all here. Stay with the tribe. We're going to do a podcast because I keep falling asleep, getting kicked off, whatever, you know, and we got to have one, you know, and whatever topic that y'all feel needs to be discussed, to find a way away from it, to wean off or something, because we've been held in some really serious drugs, man, in this fictional world. What would be the best route to circumvent, to get away from media, for people to put down the phone, to be people to turn it off, because it works with the repeater to put out EMF, to turn and unplug the TV. I unplug my TV all the time. You know what I mean? Tablets, laptops, unplug, put them up, go outside. You know what I mean? You ain't got to talk with nobody. Hug a tree, man. You know what I'm saying? But whatever, throw some topics out. Herbo, what's going on, Salute, brother? You already know, DJ. You know I gotta mess with you, bro. Yeah. Yo, you know we had to kick the Willy bubble. Let me get off here, guys. I'm gonna have to get myself situated and ready and everything so I can go over here with Rebel. I don't know. She's got a Facebook account. I don't know why she don't come over here. Get the numbers up like she can over there. I don't know. Facebook, I detest that government platform. I really do. They all are, but that TikTok, even Twitter, y'all, that thing is like Reddit, just nasty. But number love and respect. Any of the sisters that didn't come in, and the brothers, 2 and 1. I'm gonna go ahead and get up off of here. Appreciate you too much. I just saw that, did you? Word. Mad respect, mad love, everybody. Old hot, more toy tribe. Chickamauga. Yeah, that's right. You doing damn right. All right, brothers.